All right, what I want to do now is I want to separate this knob, but in order to do it and detach it, we need to select it. So there's a few tools that we're going to practice with to kind of learn what each one does. So let's go up, and I'm going to grab and click on polygon here. And let's click on one of these polygon faces in my scene. So make sure you save this frequently so you don't lose it. And click on polygon, and we'll just grab one of these. Okay, if I go to ring, this should draw a ring around my subject instead of around the waistline of the cylinder. It should go from top to bottom. If I click on it, notice what happens though. It went from, if you think of this as top to bottom, going this direction, it did that. And it also kind of painted a belt around the waist, if you think of this as a round cylinder object. It does both, okay? If I deselect off of it and I click on one box and I do loop, it does the exact same thing. It does both. Why? They're both designed, if you only have, selects a ring or rings based on the current polygon selection, but it also says, now it only shows you that when you hover, it says if you select a single polygon, it selects both the loop and the ring. Okay, so both of those do the same thing if I only have a single one, because I'm not giving it any directionality. So how do I use this better? Okay, ring will always go around this way of my cylinder. Okay, it recognizes this. So even if I multi-select here, it's going to paint a ring around, but now it's doing 3 rings if you think of each one of these segments as its own ring. So that's not really what we want. We want the loop tool then. So think about the loop reaching around the round part, the waistline of our character, and painting a belt on there. So if I grab the loop tool, but I need to multi-select, so hit control down and paint a couple. 2 is enough, right? I'll just do 1, control 2, and now I hit loop, and voila, that's what we want. Now though, here's the issue. I don't want to detach just this band. I want to detach all of this. I want to select all of it. Okay, so there's still kind of an issue. That's fine if I want to do one single loop. I can also go here and I can hit control again, and I can 1, 2, and keep control down and loop again. Okay, but as soon as I do that with this tool here, let's say I want to loop this, and I hit loop, watch what happens now. It looped it and it painted a ring because it's looking for consecutive boxes together. So because this was touching that, it went this direction as well. So it's not going to work. It's not what we want. Okay. One thing, if you're using the loop tool frequently, it has this smart loop tool. This is kind of cool. You can turn this mode on and it stays on. It's kind of like Swift Loop, right? It has that lightning bolt, so that's kind of a key that it's going to stay on. So I can click 1, and I hold control down to multi-select, and I hit 2, and it paints it for me. Okay, so sometimes you may want that, and the same thing would work for ring as well. But that's enough of kind of how those work real quick. We'll use those a little bit more in the near future. So if I can't use loop and I can't use ring to multi-select, what do we want to use? Make sure you shut this off, otherwise it's going to cause us problems. Okay, it's off. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do the select, where is it? Right here. I want select window crossing or select window mode. Now what's the difference? If you notice in our little picture there, because it will remind you later on when you're trying to figure this out, I'll hover again. Window crossing mode is the left image. Look at the countertop, the cabinet that it's going. That right line on the box that we're drawing around the subject also includes and paints in the rest of the cabinet. Okay, so the window mode only grabs any full shapes that are inside the window. So let's try this. If I draw, I'm in crossing mode. If I draw a box, I'm just going to start out here and draw a box around here and go like that. It paints everything, okay, because these also crossed in the box. If I go and I turn that off and I switch this, I pull this down, now I have whatever, this is the window mode, so it's only what's ever inside the window, and I draw a box, okay, it only got what's inside the box. However, so I didn't get this part of the lampshade, which is good, but I don't want this end here as well, okay? So still not working. Here's the one way we want. We want to go back to window mode, okay? And we want to have it intersect, so I'm going to click off of that to deselect. And now this is fine for my intents and purposes because these are long enough, but I want to cross on here, and because it crossed through all of these brackets, it highlighted all of them. Now, if I'm a little bit crooked and I do that, watch what happens, okay? I go like this, I think, oh, right there, perfect. And I swing it around. What happened is it still caught some of those in there, right? Because of my angle. So a lot of times what I would rather do is switch views from here and go to a right view, a left view, and then you have a perfectly straight line, real quick and easy to draw a window, and that's what we do. All right, so that's our little spiel on how the different modes are. This is exactly what we want. So paint just the knob, none of the end of this lamp, and we're going to go up to detach. Okay. Now, when we do this, let's do it, and it's going to give us some options. I type in the name. I'm going to call it, I want to keep the word sconce, okay, sconce. I'm going to do underscore power button, I guess, because it could be a push button. Power underscore button. And that should be okay. Now, here's what. Do we leave it like it is, detach as this, detach to element, or detach as clone? Watch what happens if I do this. If I detach to element, it's going to detach it, but keep it part of this. And then it's still going to make me lock in. If I color this black, it's going to keep that black because it's part of the other element. I don't want it as part of this element. I want it its own little draw. So we don't want that done. We're not cloning it as anything. We want to have it so the name shows up. I'm going to call this 001 in case we put more than one of these in the scene. Then the other one would be 002 and so forth. And the program will smart memorize this. Now, when I click OK, it shows up in the scene as, where is it? Sconce power button. Here we go. And I click on it, and there we go. Let's change the color to white because that's what it was, or at least an off-white here. That's what it was in the other scene. And we have that done. So that is fantastic. We have, let's just make sure we have one thing in our scene that we don't have. What is this cylinder? Looks like the cylinder is this lamp base here. So let's call this we haven't given this a name yet, have we? Lamp head. We'll just call it the lamp head here. So we should always put the word sconce back in here because it's all part of that draw, that object in our scene. So sconce, lamp head, and then 001. Okay, so let's keep our scene organized. We're going to need that later on when we go to organize that. I'm going to leave off on this video, and we will come back and finish out our draw in the next video. So join me in 4.3. Thanks, and keep up the good work.